The fall of Constantinople in 1453 marked not merely the capture of a city, but the definitive end of the Byzantine Empire, a millennium-old Roman legacy in the East, profoundly impacting the political, religious, and cultural landscapes of Europe and the Mediterranean world. For over 1,000 years, Constantinople, founded by Emperor Constantine the Great in 330 AD, had served as a bulwark of Christendom, a vibrant center of trade and learning, and the direct continuation of the Roman Empire after the West's decline in 476 AD. The empire, however, had been in a state of gradual decline for centuries, weakened by internal strife, economic woes, and relentless external pressures from various enemies, including Arabs, Bulgarians, Crusaders, and finally, the Ottoman Turks. The Fourth Crusade in 1200 proved particularly devastating as Western Crusaders sacked Constantinople, establishing a Latin empire that lasted for over half a century and leaving the city fragmented and vulnerable, a blow from which it never fully recovered. Though the Byzantines managed to recapture Constantinople in 1261 under Emperor Palaeologos, the empire was a shadow of its former self, reduced in size and resources, and plagued by continuing internal divisions and economic instability. By the mid-15th century, the Ottoman Empire, under the ambitious leadership of Sultan Mehmed II, had emerged as the dominant power in the eastern Mediterranean, steadily encroaching on Byzantine territories and posing an existential threat to Constantinople. Mehmed II, determined to conquer Constantinople, understood its strategic and symbolic importance, viewing it as a key to controlling trade routes, consolidating his power, and fulfilling a long-held Ottoman ambition. He began preparing for a massive siege, commissioning the construction of powerful cannons, including the Basilica, a giant bombard capable of breaching the city's formidable walls, a technological advantage that the Byzantines struggled to counter. The Byzantine Emperor Constantine Palaeologos, the last Roman emperor, recognized the impending danger and desperately appealed to the West for assistance, but received only limited support, hampered by religious differences and political rivalries. Venice, Genoa, and other Italian city-states provided some military and financial aid, but it was insufficient to effectively defend the city against the overwhelming Ottoman forces. The city's population was drastically reduced, estimated to be around 50,000 by 1453, a far cry from its once bustling millions, and its defenses were dilapidated and undermanned. Constantinople's Theodosian walls, considered the most formidable defensive structures in Europe for centuries, were nevertheless in need of repair, and the city lacked the resources to adequately maintain them. The Byzantine fleet was also significantly weaker than the Ottoman navy, consisting of only a handful of ships, unable to effectively challenge the Ottoman blockade. On April 6, 1453, Mehmed II commenced the siege of Constantinople, deploying an army estimated to be between 80,000 and 150,000 soldiers, supported by a powerful artillery barrage and a formidable naval force. The initial Ottoman attacks focused on breaching the land walls, utilizing cannons to create breaches and infantry assaults to exploit them. But the Byzantine defenders, despite being outnumbered, fiercely resisted. Giovanni Giustiniani Longo, a Genoese military commander, played a crucial role in organizing and leading a Byzantine defense, rallying the troops and effectively utilizing fortifications to repel the Ottoman assaults. The Byzantines employed Greek fire, a highly flammable liquid launched from siphons to devastating effect against Ottoman ships, disrupting their attempts to blockade the Golden Horn. However, the Ottomans, utilizing a clever strategy, circumvented the Byzantine naval defenses by transporting ships overland, bypassing the chain boom that protected the Golden Horn, a move that caught the Byzantines by surprise. This bold maneuver allowed the Ottomans to establish a presence in the Golden Horn, creating a critical vulnerability in the city's defenses and forcing the Byzantines to divide their forces. The Ottomans continued their relentless bombardment of the walls, focusing on vulnerable sections and attempting to create breaches large enough for their troops to assault. Despite fierce resistance, the walls began to crumble under the constant barrage, creating significant weaknesses in the city's defenses. On May 29, 1453, Mehmed II launched the final assault on Constantinople, deploying the full force of his army in a coordinated attack on multiple sections of the walls. The battle was fierce and brutal, with both sides fighting to the death, the streets of Constantinople running with blood. Giovanni Giustiniani Longo was seriously wounded, forcing him to withdraw from the battle, a significant blow to the Byzantine morale and defense. Emperor Constantine Drueben, realizing the situation was hopeless, removed his imperial insignia and led a final charge against the Ottoman forces, fighting to the death alongside his troops. The Ottoman forces finally breached the walls, overwhelming the Byzantine defenders and pouring into the city. Constantinople fell to the Ottomans after a long and brutal siege, marking the end of the Byzantine Empire. The Hagia Sophia, the magnificent cathedral of Constantinople, was looted and converted into a mosque, symbolizing the Ottoman conquest and the end of Byzantine religious dominance. Thousands of Byzantine civilians were killed or enslaved, and the city was subjected to widespread looting and destruction. The fall of Constantinople had profound consequences for Europe, marking the end of the last vestige of the Roman Empire and ushering in a new era of Ottoman dominance in the Eastern Mediterranean. The influx of Byzantine scholars and manuscripts into Western Europe contributed to the Renaissance, sparking a renewed interest in classical learning and culture. The Ottomans controlled vital trade routes between Europe and Asia, disrupting commerce and prompting European powers to seek alternative routes, ultimately leading to the age of exploration. The fall of Constantinople also sent shockwaves through the Christian world, leading to calls for a new crusade, though these efforts were largely unsuccessful.